we are on week 13. This is a good question. It says, it's a little bit longer. It says, why does Doctrine and Covenants 28 condemn Hiram Page's use of a seer stone to receive revelation, while Joseph Smith's use of a seer stone for translation and revelation was accepted? How are the differences between legitimate and illegitimate uses of seer stones determined? This has a lot to do with authority, not necessarily the tool that was used. It's not like there was one true seer stone and that was the only one that worked. But the person who was using it and what they were trying to use it for and the purpose, something that really matters. For Joseph Smith, he was called as the prophet of God, and through that authority, God gave him the power to use the seer stone for translation purposes and to be able to gain revelation for the church and the members. And that is the authority given to the prophet of the church, is to be able to have revelation given to him to be able to lead the saints. As for Hiram Page, he was not the prophet, and so he did not have that authority to be able to receive the divine revelation specifically meant to be received by a prophet of God to lead the saints, lead the members of the church. Another principle that this situation outlines is the use of spiritual gifts. Many people are blessed with spiritual gifts, but if it is used outside the bounds of what God meant for us to use these gifts for, used without God's authority, or used to challenge leadership, they are not considered something that you can use as divinely inspired tools from God, because you're not using them correctly, and so God can take them away as easily as he gives them. This emphasizes the importance of respecting the order of the church and your leaders, and the way that the church has a specific way that it's governed. So in your day-to-day life, it's important to remember that God gives us gifts and we have to use them wisely and with his authority and for good, righteous purposes. Otherwise, they are not going to work the way that God intended them to, and we may not receive the blessings from them that you're meant to receive if you don't use them the way that they were meant to be used for. Only the prophet receives church-wide revelation, whereas anyone who isn't the prophet, who's claiming to be the prophet or claims to be able to do the things that only the prophet can do, is obviously not correct. And if you don't remember that and you don't abide by that, there can be a lot of confusion created, and God's church cannot function correctly on the earth if there's confusion because of small things like that happening. So keep that in mind. And next week we will do week 14.